Welcome back to DevOps Genius Zone. Today, we are covering how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime. And if you are working in DevOps or trying to break into the field, this is one you cannot afford to miss. This is one of the tools and practices running at virtually every major US tech company. I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know. We'll cover the core concepts, how it works under the hood, how to get started the right way, and the best practices that senior engineers use in production at real US tech companies. By the end of this video, you will have a clear, actionable understanding of how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime that you can apply immediately. I'll also share some common pitfalls and how to avoid them, plus real-world examples from companies you know the shape of even if I don't name them directly. Here's what we're covering today, in order. Why how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime matters for your career and your next interview. The core mental model behind how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime, explained without jargon. How to get started the right way instead of the way most tutorials show you. The best practices senior engineers actually use day to day. The mistakes that quietly get engineers passed over for promotions. A real-world example with numbers attached. How to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime looks across AWS, Azure, and GCP. A full hands-on walkthrough you can follow along with. How monitoring, security, and compliance tie into how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime. How getting this right saves real money. And finally, where to go to keep learning after this video ends. Let's get into it. First, let us talk about why how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime matters so much right now. The US job market for DevOps engineers is stronger than ever, and companies are specifically looking for engineers who understand these tools deeply, not just on the surface. In 2025, DevOps roles in the US command salaries between $130,000 and $190,000, and that number is only going up. Knowing how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime inside and out can literally change your career trajectory. If you're preparing for a DevOps interview, expect to be tested on how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime. Recruiters are filtering for these keywords, and hiring managers want to see hands-on experience. I've heard from candidates who landed offers simply because they could discuss how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime in depth during a technical round. It's not just about passing an interview, either. Once you're in the role, how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime is one of those areas where depth of understanding directly shows up in your day-to-day work. When production has an issue at 2 a.m., the engineer who deeply understands how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime is the one who can calmly work through it instead of guessing. That reputation follows you. It's how junior engineers get trusted with bigger systems, and how mid-level engineers get considered for senior roles. Companies promote people who reduce risk, not people who just keep things running by luck. I also want to be honest with you about something. A lot of engineers learn how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime just deeply enough to pass a certification exam, and then they stop. That's a mistake. The certification gets you in the door. What keeps you in the room during a real incident, or during a system design conversation, is the deeper understanding we're building today. So stick with me through this whole video, because the parts that feel slightly less exciting, like the mistakes section and the hands-on walkthrough, are usually the parts that make the biggest difference in interviews and in production. Here is the foundational concept you need to understand. The desired state management model means you define what you want, and the system figures out how to get there. This reconciliation loop runs continuously, comparing the actual state with your desired state and making corrections automatically. That is what makes modern DevOps systems so powerful and resilient. When you embrace this pattern with how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime, you stop manually tweaking configurations and start letting the platform maintain reliability for you. It's a mindset shift from imperative to declarative thinking, and once you get it, everything else about how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime clicks into place. Let me give you an analogy that might help. Imagine you're managing a thermostat instead of a space heater. With a space heater, you decide when to turn it on and off, and if you forget, the room gets too hot or too cold. With a thermostat, you just declare the temperature you want, and the system continuously checks and corrects. How to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime works the same way. You're not issuing one-time commands and hoping they hold. You're declaring an end state, and the system keeps nudging reality toward that state, over and over, automatically, without you having to babysit it. This matters because production systems are never static. Nodes fail, dependencies update, traffic spikes, configurations drift because someone made a manual change under pressure. A system built around one-time imperative commands can't keep up with that kind of constant change. A system built around continuous reconciliation can. That's the real reason how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime exists, and it's the reason so many modern tools are built around this same declarative pattern, from infrastructure as code to Kubernetes itself. Getting started the right way matters more than most engineers realize. Before you touch any configuration, understand your requirements. Version control everything. Use the principle of least privilege. Keep changes small and incremental. And always have a rollback plan ready before you deploy to production. I've seen so many engineers skip these steps with how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime and later regret it when they can't recover from a failed deployment. Your future self will thank you. I always tell my ments, if you can't draw the architecture on a whiteboard, you're not ready to implement it. Here's a simple checklist I want you to actually use, not just nod along to. 1. Write down what you're trying to achieve in one sentence before you open your terminal. 2. Put your configuration in Git before you apply anything to a real environment. 3. Test in a throwaway or staging environment first, even if it's a tiny scaled-down version of production. 4. Know exactly how you'd undo the change before you make it. 5. Make the smallest change that proves the concept works, then build from there. Engineers who skip straight to step 5 without the first 4 almost always end up debugging something they don't fully understand, under time pressure, which is the worst possible way to learn how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime. Best practices from senior engineers are straightforward, but often overlooked. Automate the repetitive work. Document your decisions, not just your configurations. Test in staging before production. Monitor everything. And when something breaks, and it will, write a postmortem and learn from it. One of the most effective habits with how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime is to always ask, can I undo this in under a minute? If the answer is no, you need a better rollback plan. I also recommend setting up a dedicated runbooks repository with step-by-step recovery procedures for how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime specifically. Another habit that separates senior engineers from everyone else, they document the why, not just the what. Anyone can look at a configuration file and see what it does. Far fewer teams write down why a particular decision was made, what alternatives were considered, and what trade-offs were accepted. 6 months later, when someone wants to change that configuration, that context is the difference between a confident change and a nervous one. With how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime, I strongly recommend a short comment or linked doc next to any non-obvious decision explaining the reasoning behind it. Senior engineers also treat monitoring as part of the deliverable, not an afterthought. If you build something with how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime and it doesn't emit metrics, logs, or traces, it isn't done yet, even if it technically works. The same goes for alerting. A senior engineer doesn't just want to know something broke. They want to know it broke before a customer notices, and they want the alert to point clearly at the likely cause instead of just saying something is wrong somewhere. The most common mistakes I see junior DevOps engineers make with how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime are skipping the planning phase, ignoring security until the end, and not handling failures gracefully. Avoid these and you are already ahead of most candidates. For example, never leave sensitive credentials in plain text, even in internal repositories. Use a secret manager or vault solution from day one. Another mistake is logging everything to standard output without a structured format. This makes troubleshooting how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime a nightmare. I've seen outages prolonged for hours because the logs were unusable. Spend time on your logging strategy from the start. A more subtle mistake I see, even from engineers with a couple of years of experience, is treating how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime as a one-time setup task instead of an ongoing practice. They configure it once, it works, and they move on and never revisit it. Then 6 months later, requirements change, the team has grown, and the original setup doesn't scale, but nobody owns updating it. If you're working with how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime, put a recurring reminder on your calendar, monthly or quarterly, to revisit the setup and ask whether it still fits how the team actually works today. One more mistake worth naming directly: engineers who copy a configuration from a blog post or a Stack Overflow answer without adapting it to their own environment. It might work in the example, but production traffic patterns, security requirements, and team size are always different. If you can't explain every line of how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime configuration you're about to apply to a real environment, slow down and understand it first. That single habit will save you from more incidents than almost anything else on this list. Here is a real-world example. Teams that implement how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime properly consistently see faster deployment frequency, fewer production incidents, and smaller on-call burden. Engineers spend their time on work that matters instead of firefighting. I recall a team at a gaming company that adopted how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime and reduced their mean time to recovery by 80%. That's the kind of impact we're talking about. A major streaming service cut their cloud bill by 40% after properly tuning their how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime setup. Now, let us dig deeper into the specifics of how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime. Whether you are on AWS, Azure, or GCP, the principles remain the same. For instance, in AWS, you would use the equivalent managed services, while in Azure and GCP you have parallel offerings. But regardless of the cloud provider, how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime enables you to ship features faster, recover from failures in minutes, and scale your infrastructure dynamically. If you're running on premises, tools like OpenStack or VMware can integrate similarly, though the patterns remain identical. The key is understanding the abstraction layer how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime provides, because once you understand the abstraction, moving between cloud providers becomes a matter of translating syntax, not relearning concepts from zero. I want to emphasize that last point because it's the thing that actually makes you valuable across companies. Interviewers don't just want to know that you've used one specific tool. They want to know you understand why how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime works the way it does, so that when their company uses a slightly different flavor of it, you can adapt quickly. That's the difference between someone who memorized commands and someone who actually understands the system. Let me give you a concrete hands-on walkthrough so you can see exactly how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime works in practice. Open up your terminal and follow along. Even if you do not have the full environment set up yet, just watching this will give you the mental model you need to succeed. I'll show you common commands, configuration snippets, and the reasoning behind each step. We'll start with the simplest possible working example and then add complexity. We start by defining our desired state. Think of this as the blueprint of what your system should look like. This blueprint is written as code, and it's your single source of truth. Write it down before you touch anything live. Keep the very first version deliberately small, just enough to prove the basic idea works end to end. Once the blueprint is defined, the next step is to let the system reconcile the actual state with the desired state. The control loop checks continuously: is the right configuration active, is the correct number of resources running. If something drifts, the system automatically brings it back into alignment. I'll demonstrate a simple drift scenario and how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime self-heals. Imagine someone makes a manual change directly against production, bypassing your defined configuration. A well-implemented how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime setup detects the drift on the next reconciliation pass and either alerts you or automatically corrects it, depending on how you've configured it. From there, add one piece of complexity at a time. Get the basic version working, confirm it behaves the way you expect, then layer in the next requirement, whether that's scaling, security policies, or integration with another system. Engineers who try to build the fully complete version on their first attempt almost always get stuck debugging multiple unknowns at once. Building incrementally means that when something breaks, you know exactly which change caused it. Now, let us add monitoring on top of that. Tools like Prometheus and Grafana scrape metrics and show you dashboards. You can see request latency, error rates, and resource usage at a glance. Set alerts so you know immediately when something goes wrong, and with a well-implemented how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime setup, the system often heals itself before you even wake up. For a production system, I recommend tracking 4 golden signals: latency, traffic, errors, and saturation. If you can only instrument 4 things, instrument those 4, because together they tell you almost everything you need to know about system health. Another crucial aspect is security. In the US, regulatory compliance frameworks like SOC2, HIPAA, and PCI DSS require you to have complete visibility and control over your infrastructure. Understanding how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime helps you meet those requirements without slowing down development. Always follow the principle of least privilege, and regularly scan your container images and runtime environments for vulnerabilities with tools like Trivy or SNYK integrated directly into your CI pipeline. Compliance often gets treated as a checkbox exercise, but it doesn't have to slow you down if you build it into how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime from the start rather than bolting it on afterward. For example, if access controls and audit logging are part of your initial design, passing a SOC2 audit later becomes a matter of producing evidence you already have, instead of scrambling to retrofit controls onto a system that was never designed with them in mind. That's the difference between compliance as a burden and compliance as a natural side effect of doing things right. Let us also talk about cost optimization. Cloud bills can spiral out of control if you are not careful. With how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime configured properly, you can set resource limits, schedule non-production environments to shut down at night, and use spot or preemptible instances for fault-tolerant workloads. These simple steps can cut your cloud spend by 30 to 50%. I've seen companies waste tens of thousands of dollars simply because they never set resource requests. A quick, practical tip: audit your non-production environments first. Dev and staging environments running 24/7 when nobody is using them outside business hours are one of the easiest wins in cloud cost optimization, and they're directly tied into how you configure how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime. A scheduled shutdown script or autoscaling policy that scales non-prod down to zero overnight can pay for itself within the first month. The community around how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime is one of the most active in tech. There are dedicated Slack workspaces, Discord servers, local meetups, and global conferences like KubeCon, reInvent, and HashiConf. The DevOps community in the US is incredibly welcoming and always willing to help newcomers. I encourage you to join a few groups and start learning from practitioners at companies large and small. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Even senior engineers rely on the community to solve tricky problems. Some of the best solutions I've ever found for how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime came from a comment on a community forum, not from official documentation. To summarize, how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime is critical in the 2025 US DevOps job market. Start right by understanding requirements before touching configuration and version control everything. Follow best practices around least privilege, small changes, automation, and documentation. Monitor everything from day one and always have a rollback plan. The market rewards engineers who deeply understand how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime, not those who merely copy-paste commands. If you can demonstrate this knowledge in an interview, you'll stand out immediately. Before you go, here's your action item for today. Don't just close this video and move on. Open a sandbox environment, even a small local one, and rebuild the simplest possible version of what we walked through today with how to upgrade a Kubernetes cluster with zero downtime. Hands-on repetition is what turns "I watched a video about this" into "I actually know how this works," and that difference is exactly what interviewers and senior engineers can tell apart in about 30 seconds of conversation. If this video helped you, please smash the like button. It helps DevOps Genius Zone reach more engineers in the US who are working to level up their skills and their careers. Subscribe so you do not miss a single video. We publish brand new in-depth DevOps content every single day. Drop your questions in the comments. I personally read and respond to all of them. See you tomorrow.